Myers Metal Detectors, located in sunny Tampa, Florida, where we sell nothing but fun and adventures, treasure hunting gear, and anything you can imagine for metal detecting. Give us a call, 813-237-1939. Happy hunting and dig deeper.
Live from sunny Florida, it's Treasure Talk. Hello, everybody. I know you don't usually see the guru first, but he's there. He is. Let's get him up here.
I couldn't figure out, I'm still trying to figure out how to get Jocelyn's phone turned off, the sound.
I just throw it out the front door. Yeah.
Throw it out the front door, yes.
Yeah, that'll work.
Hello, folks. Boy, that creeped up on me real quick. Man.
Well, when we first said, well, it's got to go to the green room, I'm going, oh my God, it's almost 7 o'clock, and it was. So
yes, it was. Well, folks, today, welcome to Treasure Talk, another exciting edition. And today, I'm not at the shop. I got caught doing a big project on my house, and so I didn't have time to get to the shop. So, but that's okay. It's going to be an exciting show for sure. And it looks like Jeff's got something in his hand, but I guess I better do our entry.
Yes, I think so.
Of course, today's show is brought to you by friends of Myers Metal Detectors, where we sell fun and adventure. And the views, thoughts, and opinions expressed here by the Treasure Talk guest or member belong solely to the guest or member, not necessarily to Phil Myers, Jocelyn Myers, Myers Metal Detectors, or Jeff Bonin. And of course, the purpose of Treasure Talk is to promote the hobby of metal detecting and treasure hunting, and to educate our members in a fun, informative manner.
That is it. And we
got it all out.
Yes, we do. And it's on the eve of, I'll be leaving for Digstock Wednesday morning. However, I will be back for the show next week.
Awesome.
Originally, I wasn't going to be, but I am now. So y'all are going to get to see Big Poppy next week, too, because he's going to join us.
Oh, cool. Big Poppy is always fun.
Yeah, and he was going to sit in for me, but the weather's going to be so bad up there. I've just decided to come home. So I'll be back on Monday night. But during our time at Digstock, the Mumbles Man and I will be there, and we will be with our Merlins from Excalibur Shovels. And I'm fixing to show you mine. This is an exclusive Treasure Talk edition, only available at Myers Metal Detectors.
Sweet.
This color is the Treasure Talk color. It's exclusive to Treasure Talk, only available at Myers Metal Detectors. And you can see, let's back up a little bit. You can see, now this is the wide head on it. And it's chromium silver, and it fades into blue spade blue.
Blue spade blue.
And you can get two heads with it. This is the Merlin, and it does detach very easily right here. And I'll get it. But and Phil Hand is going to handle two different Merlins. One of them is Blackbeard's Gold, which is black and gold, right, Phil?
Black and gold. It looks really cool. I've seen some already. The
Treasure Talk edition shovel, and to my mind, best shovels on the planet Earth. Yes. You can't break this puppy, let me tell you. Yeah. And like I said, it detaches, so you can pack in your suitcase if you're traveling overseas or got to fly or whatever. It's good to go. And I think
it's made in USA
too. Bill, what's this Merlin run?
Merlin's around $199. I think the two head is around $299. So I don't have the exact figure, but it's real close to that. But it's worth every penny, because like I always say, buy it one time. That's it.
That's right.
That thing is just awesome. I've used the wide myself, and I just love it here in the Florida sand or Florida grass and sand or Florida dirt. I just like it. I like the way it cuts a plug, even with the wide head. It's just an awesome shovel.
And it just, there's no way you can rake it and it doesn't wobble. It fits securely. So you've got a shovel. It's like having a one-piece shovel, but it
Yes.
detaches and comes apart. Great product. Made exclusively for Myers Metal Detectors in that color. My Excalibur shovels. And
Yes.
y'all have met Casey before, and it's exclusive to Myers Metal Detectors. So
Yeah.
while I'm at Dig Stock, I'm going to have that. And y'all hit us up, and I'll give you one of Phil's business cards. That'll be good for 10% off if you buy a Merlin. You only have to buy one head. You don't have to buy both. Or if you buy any Excalibur shovel, it doesn't have to be a Merlin. You get 10% off by mentioning Dig Stock. And when you call Phil, 813-237-1939. Nobody sells for less. Nobody stocks more for less. And if Phil don't have it in stock, you don't need
You
it.
don't need it. Absolutely.
So I think we better get on with it, don't you?
Yes, I got a few things to mention to folks before we get started with our guest. One is we're going to have Terry Shannon at the WSAS meeting this month, and that's on the 21st. That's on the 21st. So if anybody wants to check out Terry Shannon, we'll be there. And of course, I know we'll have some books too. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is the WSAS. If you remember, they're doing a silver hunt, kind of like a seated hunt, like the guest is going to talk about tonight. They're having the Sam Scoggins, Jeff Zona Memorial Hunt, and that is on Sunday, March the 26th, I believe is the date on that. You just have to be a paid member, and they're going to put out, I think, over $800 in silver and prize stuff. So that'll be a good one if you're into silver hunts or seated hunts. That's local. So you don't have to drive all the way to South Carolina, where you're going to, Jeff. But if you
North Carolina.
It's a good club. North Carolina, that's right. Come check it out. Come see Terry Shannon for sure.
Yeah, and also, just for everybody's information, the Epic Treasure Tales coming up on April 13th. I'd already had that set, or I probably would have gone to the Garrett Memorial Hunt, which is going to be killer. But I've got this Epic Treasure Tales show set up for April 13th, and we've added two. Terry Shannon will be there. Carl Fismer will be there. Mark Littleton will be there. Sid and KT Jones are going to be there. And Jimmy Crossbones will be in the house. So we're going to have 6 of them telling stories, and most of them will be true.
Yeah, most of them will be true. Well, I know Jimmy Crossbones has found a bunch, so be sure to tune in for that one, because that's he's a beach hunter, and he's found a lot of gold coins on the east coast of Florida.
And y'all know about Terry Shannon.
Yeah, so Terry's finding silver all the time. I don't think he's found the gold yet, though, Jeff.
I don't know if he's found some gold this year.
Oh, gold jewelry, but he hasn't found the
gold coin.
Yeah, and just a little history lesson this past week, March the 3rd, I think, 1845, the state of Florida was formed.
Very cool, very cool.
Well,
so it's going to be a big show that night.
Yes, for sure.
And it won't be just an hour. I guarantee you it will go past an hour.
Yes, with all those guests, I imagine it would.
Well, it'll probably go a couple hours. So what will happen to go live at 8 o'clock? I will greet you. I will turn the camera around. Everybody's going to be sitting around. It's going to be bida-beep, bida-bop, bida-beep, bida-bap, bida-boop. It should be fun. Should be a lot of fun. He's going to be sitting around. It's going to be bida-beep, bida-bop, bida-beep, bida-bap, bida-boop.
Did I do something wrong there? I hit a button.
Well, Phil, do not click anything. You'll be gone in a minute. Golly.
Oh, I wanted to watch the live stream, but I can't do it for some reason.
That's where we get an echo. So anyways, we better get going here.
Yeah, we better get it. We better bring on Steve.
Yeah, I know. And you guys have seen this young man before. As I've said, he is a world-renowned author. Some fantastic books. We're going to talk about that. All around wonderful fella. Plus, he works at Garrett Metal Detectors, which is one of the great American companies. And we're proud to have Steve Moore with us tonight from Garrett Metal Detectors. American made, American all the way. So let's bring on Steve Moore. Hi,
Hey,
Steve.
Jeff. How you guys doing?
We're doing awesome. It's 85 degrees here. Tell the folks what the temperature is and where you're at.
You know, we had a windstorm last week with 90-mile-an-hour winds, but today it was up in the 80s. So we're about like Florida weather today here in Texas.
Okay, yeah, we're in the 80s. Jeff, how is it still up there in the 80s where you're at, buddy?
Yeah, it was about 80 today, 81.
Okay. Awesome.
Yes, indeed. I didn't go hunting, but
Well,
it's warm.
Always great to see you guys. So here we go.
all righty, my friend. So we've got questions. If you guys have a question out there for Steve, just type it there. And Jeff and Jocelyn are watching that. I can't seem to watch it on my computer here because
we don't want him touching any buttons.
I don't want to touch any buttons or I'll be gone.
That's right. I mean, he just, it's like Aladdin's lamp. When
Yes.
Phil starts clicking on this
I think my internet at my house is better than at my store. So hopefully I won't lose it here. We'll see.
If you keep your hands in your pockets, you should be good.
Yes, and just on my sheets of paper that I have here. So, Steve, I guess Jeff is going up to dig stock. I know Garrett's got to be there, right?
Yeah, we definitely have Miguel Ardito from our marketing department will be out there, along with some of our kind of Garrett loyalists, KG and Ringy from the Diggers Show. I think Aqua Chigger is going to be out there. There's going to be a bunch of folks. And unfortunately, I already had a family trip planned for that same week when they announced the dates. I'll actually be heading down your neck of the woods to Florida. We usually go about the middle of March every year. And wouldn't you know it, the biggest digging event on the East Coast happens to be the same week. So I'm a little sad, but looks like, Jeff, you're going to have a good time out there, right?
I think so. I hope I get some good finds, but I think it's going to be the best thing about it is meeting all the people. There's a lot of people that are loyal viewers of the show that will be at Dig Stock that I know them from the show, but I've never had the privilege of meeting them. So we're going to get to meet a lot of people. It ought to be fun.
Yeah, I've talked to Matt quite a bit, one of the organizers behind it, and I've seen some of the maps, and it looks like an outstanding amount of land out there. A lot of old home sites, old historic properties on there. So it sounds like everybody's got a fair chance to find some good stuff,
Yeah, well, as I understand it, Steve, there's, you can find colonial, Rev War, Indian artifacts, Civil War. It's all encompassing in that area. So,
right.
Yeah, there's got a lot of history there. So I'm sure people are going to find a lot of stuff. And I'm glad Garrett's there representing the Garrett Metal Detecting Company. So that's cool. It looks like already the questions have started, Steve. I don't know if you could see that or not, but there's one. Jeff's got one posted here. When is the successor to the AT Max coming out?
Not soon enough for me. I mean, that's the natural question we're going to get. And we've kind of spent the past year really working on the prospecting market. We'd kind of fallen back on that a little bit for a while. So we came out with the Goldmaster 24K, which was a high frequency, single high frequency VLF, really outstanding on tiny bits of gold. And so we did a little bit of work and traveling and promoting that and testing it. And just most recently, our pulse induction machine, the Axiom. And that is a tremendous machine. So, people that are in the States, you can use it at the beach. It's not submersible, but you can get the coil wet and all that, and you can hunt along the shallows. But then for those people up there in, the Civil War area, like Culpeper, Virginia, where it's that red mineralized dirt, it is a tremendous machine. So part of what I've been doing here lately is testing that. We did some travels last year, went over to Australia. All of us on the trip found gold with the Axiom. I had a tremendous time out there learning the machine, learning a lot more about it. And later this month, I'll be going down to Culpeper to the Digging in Virginia event with my friend
cool.
Miguel from work. And we will definitely be out there. We're going to try to bring some extra machines. A lot of people have asked questions. How light is it? It's rechargeable. How long does the charge last? Can you upgrade it online and all that stuff? So we thought, let's just bring a bunch of detectors with us and work with our local dealer, John, out there and let some folks test drive it. So I think we'll have a fun little contest and promotion there for people that want to come up and see us. And looking forward to getting out there and digging some Civil War relics, hopefully.
Yeah, I did one of those hunts in Virginia, and I know the PI is really going to perform well there. So,
I mean, it's what you have to have in that environment. There's some people that will bring the VLFs, and you can do a limited amount of good in the cornfields and out in the forest, but some of that dirt is just punishing. So to get the depth, you really got to go to a pulse machine there.
yeah, for sure. And that's the Axiom then, is the pulse gold prospecting detector.
Yeah, it's got a really unique double D coil on it. So in most cases, gold prospectors expect the mono coil to be the hottest and the deepest, but this kind of has a centralized core element on it to where it's really sharp underneath kind of the midsection of the DD coils. So that was a little surprising we had a detector prospector with us over in Australia, Steve Hirschbach, for guys that might follow him on his forums. And he was surprised because he's used to the other machines really being hot on the monos. And he just kept saying, I can't take this double D off. I mean, I'm just killing it with this thing. So great testing, great adventure over there. And look forward to putting the coil over some relics here in the next few weeks.
Yeah, that'll be interesting for sure. And now you have the other gold detector that I guess looks kind of like the one from White's, the 24K.
Yeah, it's actually a revamp on the original White's design. We kind of Garrettized it, if you will, changed the color and all that, but functionality is still the same. It was a fairly recent release from White's, and it had a good following, had a good reputation, especially over in some of the markets in Africa and Australia and places like that. So we put that back out to kind of update and refresh our gold detecting lineup.
Right.
So,
Well, it's a pretty affordable detector for somebody just getting started in the gold prospecting compared to the Axiom.
absolutely.
So there's a market for everything. So that's nice that you can get an entry level gold prospecting detector that really performs. And it looks like Jeff's got another question there from Dig 5050. Hi, Steve. Any firmware update for the Apex coming?
At the moment, there's not one. There's the one that's been out there for a little while. I'll have to check on that and see. I never know quite what's going on, underneath the hood with the engineers back there. But I would expect this year we'll have some different things coming up. Whether it's different updates on the machines or something else altogether. But don't know a date on anything on that. So I'll make a note here to check on that on Apex updates.
Okay.
Another comment there, Philip.
Okay, yeah, from Mark Henninger. My wife just got me your book Relic Quest. I'm loving it so far. Great pictures and awesome content.
Well, many thanks for that, Mark. That's a book I have to think a lot of people, probably more than 100 people contributed, a lot of veteran detectorists and especially relic hunters, because I certainly didn't find all those pictures that are in the book, but a lot of some coin identification, but a lot of it's buttons, plates, Civil War, Rev War kind of stuff, and the basics on how to, from a pulse to a VLF, what kind of coil types work in different situations, as well as how to do research and stuff like that. So I enjoyed putting that together. Hopefully there's a few interesting bits and pieces of info in there for folks.
Absolutely. So, Steve, what got you into metal detecting?
The only time I'd really tried it was back in the 80s with a cousin that ironically had a Garrett detector. And it was just something to play around with and test out, but I never really got into it until I actually I found myself going to work for Garrett. And, one of the first things Charles Garrett said was, you need to get out in the field, talk to people. So I hope you like being outdoors. I said, oh, yes, sir. Absolutely. And I think my first trip was off to Idaho, and we did gold panning. We did some pulse detectors. We did some VLFs. And, he told me, he's like, the best way to get your head wrapped around the business and everything about it is the people. Get out there with the people and experience what they do, why they do what they do. And I've always taken that to heart. And as often as I can sneak out of that office and go to some hunt somewhere, you can bet I'm going to be there.
So,
Excuse me.
so Steve, how long is it that you've been detecting then?
I'd say 17 years now, maybe a little more.
And I know your passion for writing all the books you've written on military history. So I guess the detecting kind of goes along with that passion, because you're actually digging a piece of history a soldier may have left behind.
Yeah, for me, if there's a story tied to the place where you're going to detect, that makes it just, doubly exciting. We had a kind of an archaeological expedition a few weeks ago out in kind of central West Texas, out in the hill country. And I'll just say it has to do with some famous Texas Rangers and a famous battle. And it's a job to go out and find where the history potentially happened, where it's not precisely pinpointed. But that's the beauty of bringing the history with the metal detector together. So I had Gypsy and Miguel and some other friends out there and had a wonderful weekend, found some cool stuff. It's a vast piece of property, though. So I think the long story short is we're going to have to go back and return to search some other hills and ridge lines where some of this battle particularly may have happened. But just being out looking for the history makes it awesome,
Yeah, it's incredible when you can tie a piece of artifact to the history that's there. And I know you said you're going to go back to the same property. I'm always amazed that you can go back to the same place you walked over before and still find more stuff that you missed. It's never hunted out. I always say that.
Yeah, and this particular land out there is very arid, kind of not deserty, but really rocky, tough soil. So stuff that's 200 years old is really not going to go that deep, but it's just some unforgiving terrain, rattlesnakes and cactus and all that kind of stuff. So I'd like to kind of do it now while it's cooler. And I say that, and I just killed a snake in my backyard last night. So I think the cool's already gone,
Yeah, the cool's done that for the year. But it looks like
Don't say cactus to Phil. And we do have a question.
Yeah, I see that, Jeff. You want to take it?
Yeah, it's from Nick Haas. He says, is there going to be another production run of the TRX pinpointer, or maybe a new Garrett one coming out? Like a rechargeable carrot?
That would be a good idea. I mean, right now, I'd say that, the Carrot's the best-selling pinpointer in the world, the most reliable out there, especially for, those of us that like to get in the water and not have to worry about it. There you go.
Yeah.
That's it.
It doesn't matter, Steve, what detector brand. Everybody wants this pinpointer, waterproof to 20 feet. And it's so easily the design on it for changing the sensitivity and everything. To me, kind of hard to beat that. I know what they're talking about, the white TRX, but this was, I think, an easier for the user to use, to change the sensitivity. So I say keep this one, maybe a rechargeable system, but I think you guys nailed it on that.
Yep, I like the ideas there. And, I make a few notes here every time I talk to people because, what people want is certainly where the interest needs to be. So I don't have a timeline on something like that, but we're looking at everything in the Garrett lineup. And now that we're kind of getting through the pulse world and some of our prospecting machines, it's time to turn our focus toward coins and relics, the stuff that most of us go after.
Yeah, and I just held that box up for you folks out there who have older technology or whatnot and want to bring it into the modern day with wireless stuff. Get the Garrett wireless headphones and the Z-Link pinpointer. It's a difference in day and night, even with an older detector. You can plug that little module in and take your relic hunting if you've got an older whites or an older 1/4-inch jack detector, doesn't matter the brand. That's an easy way to bring you to wireless technology. And it's super fast. That Z-Link is, I think it's faster than the Bluetooth.
Yes, it's about 6 times faster than the standard Bluetooth. And like you said, it's being wireless, even with other types of machines, other brands. Plug in your Z-Link box and put your headphones to it. And for me, I'm kind of the idiot. I'm going through barbed wire fences and briars and crawling through bushes. And I've pulled some cables apart on headphones. I'll say that. So I don't need to be wired in.
Yeah, once you go wireless on your detector, you won't want it to be any other way. Jocelyn you said you had a question from Rose Fraser, and she's wanting to know the names of the books you've written, but I know that's going to be a little bit of a list.
Yeah, we'll just maybe do a quick rundown. I've obviously got a website, which is stephenlmoore.com, and everything that I can think of is on there and listed. As far as metal detecting, there's been a few. You mentioned Relic Quest. There was Last Stand of the Texas Cherokees, which ties in metal detecting with the history of the earliest Cherokees that came to Texas and some significant battles with the Rangers and the militia in 1839. And that was, again, a case of where we went to try to pinpoint where exactly it happened. And where they say it happens and where it happened, as you find the artifacts, there's the real proof,
Yes.
Where the canister shot lies or where the bullets, ended up or the buttons were dropped. Another book was on European metal detecting, probably years before the Relic Quest book. But then most of the rest of what I've done is centered around either Texas history. I've got a lot of Texas ancestors that go back to the Revolution that served in the Rangers in the 1830s. So I did a lot of research on the whole history of the very, very early Rangers, long before the Wild West of the 1870s. And then the majority of the rest of what I've done is World War II related, just a kind of a personal passion of mine. I enjoy talking to the veterans and meeting them and capturing their stories, but they're getting up there. One of the gentlemen I'm kind of friends with now, 98, going on 99 this year. He's in great shape, but if I don't get some of his stories out, this next year, who's to say where we'll be in a couple of years? So the first 10 stories are what brings history to life for me. So the history books, the textbooks are kind of boring, but what that guy was doing, what he was going through, bringing that, into print makes it a lot more interesting to me, at least.
Yeah, it makes it interesting to me too. And I know I've told you this before, but I've seen you on the Military History Channel a couple times. That's kind of interesting. Be in the other room and recognize your voice. And I tell Jocelyn, I say, "Hey, Steve Moore's on TV. I can hear his voice." Hey, Jeff, you had a couple questions. I think you had one before this one that about the TDI. But before we do that, William Lee had asked about, and this is something that I see from time to time, about what you're doing about people counterfeiting the Garrett products.
Yeah, that's always a challenge with our engineers and with the group there. I think some of the aces, we've had some overseas knockoffs on those in the past, and part of it is honestly just periodically revamping the lineup and maybe even taking some things out, because it's with certain governments, I won't name names, there's not enough ethics or morals there, and they don't do a lot to prevent cloning.
The COVID country.
I didn't say anything.
I'm not saying anything either, but we could say stuff. But I see this pinpointer here. People will bring it into me and say, "Hey, this is not working right." I look at it and I can tell instantly it's not a Garrett. That's not a Garrett Pro pointer. They bought it.
And Phil, I think a lot of it's just a general rule of thumb. If your customers are familiar with Myers metal detectors and kind of where your average price point is, if that thing's online for $35 or $50, it's not real, and it's probably not going to work.
I always tell them that it's not real.
It may turn on, it may make some noise, but you're not going to have the performance that you're going to expect from one of the genuine brands of detectors. And we're not the only ones. Obviously, the other brands, the other guys fight this kind of stuff too. And it's
Same
a
exact thing.
battle.
Sure.
Yep. So we got a question from Finders Keepers. He wants to know, when's the next new camo machine going to be released?
Actually, pretty soon. There's the two that we have out now. We have the AT Max in camo, and we have the Apex in camo. And next up is going to be one of the Ace detectors in camo, because we've had a lot of requests for that.
Mm-hmm.
So something that's camouflage that's a little more affordable. We will, probably make that announcement here in the relatively near future. So first alert, there you go.
All righty. I did have another question, and it just Jocelyn told me, and I've lost it. Oh, Kevin Merlina, he's asking, do they copy the code or just the hardware? I guess on the detectors, but I guess they copy everything, but they don't do a good job of copying because they never perform like the original.
Yeah, I think a lot of it just turns out being, I'm going to try to flip a light on here. A lot of it turns out being the shell itself. They copy that, and what's inside is not authentic. It's not going to perform as you would expect. So I'm not an engineer. I don't know how well they copy what's inside it, but I know generally speaking, when we get a complaint, they have to check the serial numbers. Where did you purchase it? Oh, you paid $25 for it. Well, let's look at where you purchased that. And it goes back to, in most cases, use a reputable dealer, somebody that's been around more than 6 weeks and maybe has an idea of what these things are supposed to do, and not just selling you the cheapest thing out there. But yeah, they clone what they can, but I think more of it's visual and certainly not the performance elements.
Well, that's what they go for right there. Is if it looks the same, then people are going to buy it. And then then they find out it's a piece of crap,
right?
And then there's nothing they can do about it because those people are gone and they're not going to do anything about it. So they don't really care what's on the inside. As long as it looks like the bestseller, then people will buy it. And it amazes me that they say, well, the Garrett's $127, but I found one for $25. It's the same exact pinpointer. Hello, McFly. Anybody home?
Right.
Yeah, it's really funny. But we just had a question, and I know the answer to this. They asked, does Garrett work with on the Garrett Pro Pointer? And yes, they do. And if they can't fix it, they usually sell them something at a discounted price. But most of the time, they can just fix that. I've had one go back myself.
Yeah, pretty much anything we sell has got a couple of years warranty on it, and it's just a matter of returning it to the factory. If you've had it, 5 or 10 years, a detector, in most cases, we still have the parts to do the repairs, and they'll look at it and say, hey, Jeff, it's X number of dollars. Here's all the stuff that's broken. You want to fix it or have us ship it back to you? And usually they can knock it out pretty quick and get it right back to the customer. And unfortunately for us, I guess some of these things are still running 20, 30, 40 years later, without a problem.
Yes. Yeah, I see 30 and 40-year-old Garrett detectors come in the store. And I've told people, well, why don't you get one of the new ones with wireless headphones and new technology? Oh, no, I just like this one. I don't want anything else. I just need a set of headphones for it.
Yeah, I mean, we all fall prey to the latest exciting little bell or whistle that's on those machines. But, Mr. Garrett told me a long time ago, it's get the machine that you're on and put in some serious hours on it and dig a whole bunch of stuff, even if you don't want to dig it, because the more you dig, the more you're going to learn and you're going to get smarter at what you're digging. I've seen people with tried and true machines at rallies just, kicking butt out there because they know the sounds, they know how it operates. And there's a lot to be said for that,
Yeah. If they have thousands of hours on an older detector, it's hard to convince them that they've been successful with. It's hard to convince them to try the new technology. And I get that too. I really do. Hey, I did have a couple comments that I wanted to mention. This one is Tom Becker. He said that's why you should buy from Phil. Tom, that's a good reason for sure.
There you go.
Because I know the Garrett line, I know their products. And then the other mention, the person, William Lee says, my favorite Garrett was the GTI 2500, which that one is still made today, correct?
We still make it today. It's amazing the number of people that still buy that. There's a lot of folks, some of them in other countries, that are looking for big caches and deep treasure, and they like the old 2-box assembly that's on there.
Yes, you put the eagle eye on it, and you got that really deep detector.
But then, the sizing and the imaging on there is really cool too. So I've used it quite a bit over the years. I don't use it every day, but that's not to say I don't. I'll pull out just about any given machine at a different time and go back to the field with it. I'll go out and, hit up the Apex. I'll take an Ace out sometimes. I'll go back to the Max. And every once in a while, even the GTI 2500, just because I like it.
Yes, well, Jeff, it looks like you got a question there, don't you?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Can you see it?
You take it.
Okay, from Dig 5050, Steve, I really enjoy using the PPATs with my Apex, but I would like it even better if I could turn off the vibrations.
Well, on your Pro Pointer, you can turn off the vibration. If that's what he's alluding to, it's just simply a matter of push that button and hold it in until you hear the beep, and then keep tapping through it. There's 6 different settings, 3 different audibles, and 3 different vibrate only. I'm sorry. Was this question to turn off the vibrate?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I got that backwards. You can turn off the audio, my mistake, but the vibrate is still there.
Yeah, you'll have both audio and vibrate, which
and
I like that.
You kind of like ground balance it to the soil that you're digging too.
Yeah, no, my mistake. I thought he was alluding to audible at first, but I'm reading it again now. Vibrate, that still stays on in all 6 of the options. I'm just used to, like you said, in hot ground. When I go to Culpeper, I'm going to put that thing on the edge of the dirt, tap it, and tune out the dirt before I start looking for a target. So it's pretty, simple to operate. But we can't turn off the vibrate on that model. So another note for future ideas. No vibrate.
Yeah, I don't mind the vibrate. Sometimes I hunt without the sound, just a vibration. If there's like dogs close by, they're not starting to bark when they hear the pinpointer go off. So I'll put it in vibrate.
Well, and another thing that's good about the vibrate and the audio being there, if you're hunting without headphones, you've got the audio. But if you got your headphones on, because it's a pain to have to take, the headphones off every time. That's why the vibrate's there.
Yeah, and a lot of it is just I do a fair amount of water hunting. I don't scuba dive very often anymore these days, but shallow water. And so if I'm not using a scoop, I'm recovering with my hands, and I'll just push that thing down in the deep sand or in the lake. I look for jewelry and things along the lake shores where I live, and you can feel it vibrate in your hand when you've got it buried 6 inches deep in the mud. Mm-hmm. And to me, the audio is not much good at that point. I'm just going with the vibration and trying to grab that target up.
Okay, well, I got another vote here for the rechargeable AT Pro pointer would be awesome. So
rechargeable AT Pro, all right.
Yeah, AT Pro pointer would be awesome for that. But Dick and Canuck she says I put a rechargeable 9-volt battery in it. So if you want that feature, you could do it right now. Just put a rechargeable battery in it, and you got it for sure.
I think it's kind of the wave of where things are going with most of the newer machines. With the Axiom, most of those prospecting machines are like a brick. I mean, they're heavy as all get out, and people pick up that Axiom, and it's super light. 3-pound range with a smaller coil on it, which is almost unheard of. And I can tell you, I've swung it all day long. A couple trips to Virginia, trip over to Australia, California, Nevada, different places. And it's not a pain on the arm. And this is from a guy that, had back surgery 4.5 years ago. And I am cautious of how much weight I deal with all day long. And there is no strain. It is a pleasure to swing that thing all day. So I hear you on the AT Pro and other machines, even just taking a handful of batteries out of that, it makes a difference,
Yeah,
it would make it lighter. And Jeff, it looks like you got one.
Yeah, Kevin Merlina wants to know, has Garrett thought about releasing an updated version of the White's DFX?
Don't know if we will anytime soon. I mean, right now we've knocked out a couple, like I said, machines on the prospecting market, one VLF and then one Pulse machine. And I know DFX had a lot of followers. It was a very good machine. There's probably still some out there with a few dealers, but I don't know if that's on the immediate horizon. That's not to say we won't go back and consider putting out, a White's Pulse or VLF or Pinpointer, but I would think, some different stuff on the Garrett horizon would probably be next for us.
Yeah, I see that one, Jeff. Any plans? They're asking any plans for a saltwater pinpointer. The carrot is too sensitive. They're saying in saltwater.
Yeah, those are probably some of the more common questions I hear on a pinpointer is one, discriminating pinpointer, that has ferrous, non-ferrous, or one that can, eliminate or get rid of stuff like salt water. As you guys know, salt water is kind of in the foil range, which is not far from kind of the range of where small gold is going to be. So you can't really tune it out, but you want to neutralize that environment. Generally with me, when it's in the water, I tap it once and that pretty much knocks out the mineralization. Same as the hot red dirt. If you're in Australia and you put it on the ground, forget it. All you hear is ground everywhere. So you quickly have to tune the ground out. It's the same problem and or challenge that you have in the salt water. Everything in the water is conductive. And as soon as you turn it on, it's going off. So you just have to tune it out with one tap real quick. But I like the idea. Again, I'm making a few notes here on people's suggestions, and that's where we get the ideas for future stuff.
Yeah, I like my pinpointer in the dirt or when I'm land hunting. Generally at the beach, I just use a long-handled scoop, and I don't want to have to get down on my hands and knees to use the pinpointer. So it wouldn't matter to me. I know you can put it on the least sensitive setting, and it works a little better. And or tap it when you turn it on. But I guess that would be a good thing. Some people, I see a lot of people on YouTube videos use a pinpointer on the salt beach. I'm just not a big user of that at that place.
Yeah, at the salt beach, obviously the scoop is the way to go with the sand. I've got a few of these lakes around Texas where we hunt some of the beaches, and a lot of them have that hard packed clay. So to push those sand scoops through that clay is just a beating. And sometimes I'll just go down with my hand and grab the targets,
Mm-hmm. So is there any plans for Garrett to come out with a camo T glass for Uncle Si and Jace and Jeff?
Yeah, we don't really have anything going with Uncle Si, but man, I was hoping he would come out to the hunt this next month. I'm not sure about Uncle Si, but I'm going to keep my fingers crossed because back in the Duck Dynasty days, he was always my favorite. And I have an Uncle Si story. I was going out there one week to see Jace, and we had some stuff to do with him one weekend. And it was Rusty Curry and I driving. And if you listen to, Duck Dynasty in the day, Uncle Si would always swear there's Black Panthers in Louisiana, and he's seen them Black Panthers out there. Well, I saw one on the way there in the middle of nowhere in Louisiana, and Jace is like, well, you probably saw a bobcat, you saw a coyote. I'm like, no, I've spent a lot of time in East Texas. I've seen thousands of coyotes. I've seen hundreds of bobcats. I've seen wolves. This thing was sleek and black with big paws, stalking down the side of the road toward this dead animal laying on the road with green emerald kind of eyes.
Yeah, there's no mistake in it.
Uncle Si just love that story.
Yeah, but, I wanted to comment on this. This was from JBP Hobbyist. I have an Ace 300 and an AT Pro plus the Garrett Carrot and love the wireless Z-Link headset. Well, if you don't have the Z-Link pinpointer, you need to get that one because that's an awesome setup for hunting for sure. Isn't it, Steve?
Absolutely. I mean, you have the detector and the pinpointer both in your headset. So if you're at the beach, when the wind's blowing, people are chattering all around you, no worries. You get everything you need right there in the ear.
And that's the setup. Even if you don't have a Garrett detector, that will work in it for sure. And it looks like, Jeff, you got something going there. I see the red banner up there.
Yeah, we do. And just speaking of camo, uh, Steve and the ones at Garrett have been kind enough to donate for giveaway tonight a Jace Robertson edition camo Ace Apex metal detector. Don't get much better than that, folks. So
Absolutely.
we're fixing to do that giveaway thanks to Steve and Garrett. And as y'all know, number one, you have to be tuned in to win. Number two, you got to be a member of Treasure Talk YouTube. And I do check to be sure that you are a member. And if you're not a member and your name comes up, you're not getting the prize. That's all. So what you have to do is you have to enter on a certain video I put up and with a phrase. And that phrase was Jace Robertson Apex model. And that's what you had to put in to enter for the giveaway. Now, I happen to have the names and some alternates. So once I announce your name, you will have 3 minutes to text me with your name. And you are here to my phone number right there. It's on the screen. You got 3 minutes to text. Make sure you put your name. So somebody's texting me right now and I haven't even called the names. Yeah,
They think they're the winner.
It's me. I'm sending you a text right now.
Yeah.
Hey, I did want to mention that
Well, Lauren, your name wasn't called, so that is what it is. So, all righty then. So, Richard Pelkey, if you are watching, you got 3 minutes to text me with your name and that you are here. Richard.
All right, Richard, here we go.
All right, Richard. The time's now. Hey, I did want to mention that JPP Hobbyist texted in the chat that she does have the Zingling pinpointer, and it's
There we
awesome.
go. All right.
I knew it was awesome, so I'm glad she's got it because it is an awesome setup. No matter what brand of detector you have, that just makes it so much better. Even if it's a 20-year-old with a 1/4-inch jack, you can plug that module in there, and you've got it set. You're in modern metal detecting times being wireless.
And if you don't, go ahead and get the Garrett headphones. They make killer headphones.
Oh, yes.
They're comfortable. They got great tones and great sound. And then that Z-Link outfit is just that's the quill right there. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the way to go. I'm going to be beaches next week. So, yep, you got to have the headphones when you're in the wind like that. So, especially those little faint signals.
Yeah.
They're comfortable.
I never hunt without headphones. I can't stand it. I have to hear it, and I think that the Garrett quality headphones covering your ear just blocks out all the noise around you. That makes it perfect. So at Digstock, do you think KG and Ringy will be there?
At the Garrett hunt?
Both. At Digstock and the Garrett hunt.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to be at Digstock. I'm sad to miss out on that one, but you guys are going to have a ball out there, Jeff. Yes, they will be in Canton at the big Garrett hunt coming up next month. Jace Robertson is supposed to pop out there, and he wants to go treasure hunt with us also. He'll probably do a little talk about his TV show, probably on that Saturday. And this is held in conjunction with the Texas Association of Metal Detecting Clubs, or TAMDC. So there's a free treasure show going on the same weekend at the same venue where we're having our hunt. So Terry Smith and his crew did this with us 2 years ago. It was a big hit. A lot of clubs out there, lots of raffles for prizes, lots of cool treasure on display. But we'll have Jace doing a talk about his Duck Family Treasures TV show. The first season's out. They're working on season 2 right now. They're currently filming. Probably be out sometime a little bit later this year. He'll talk about that and what's going on. Talk about, does he really find treasure, or is all that fake TV stuff? And he'll set you straight with the answers on what they really find there.
Well, I think in your show it's pretty straightforward, Steve. He digs a lot of junk too, and he's not, and that's good because he's pretty honest about saying, well, you're going to dig some junk. Not everything you dig is going to be good. So he's really honest about it. So I don't think they're going to get away with anything,
We've been out with him a few times, and he's just a regular guy. He enjoys it. And when we take a lunch break, guarantee he was the first one out of the barn, back in the field before you could bat an eye, because he wanted to get back in the field and keep searching. And, we'll all find a few things, and he's not, oh, look at all the stuff I found. He's going as hard as he can, as fast as he can, and he's just an enthusiast. He has the same zeal for digging coins as he does for ducks and stuff like that. The buck hunting and the duck hunting. It's just all in the blood.
Well, we have noticed on the show that Jace will be digging and Jeff will be sitting.
Yep. They give Jeff a hard time. He's a good guy, though.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, Jocelyn just told me that we had questions on the date of the Garrett hunt. I know that's probably sold out now, but if they can't make it this year, they could surely. Garrett does it every year. What date is it this year?
Yeah, it's the weekend of April 14, 15, and 16 in Canton, Texas. And yes, it did close out last week, unfortunately. But as I mentioned, there is a treasure show that weekend. So if you're going to be out in that neck of the woods, about an hour or so from Dallas, there's the chance to see a lot of, detecting celebrities, if you will, a lot of cool treasure. So check out our website. There's a page on the Garrett Hunt on there with all the details. But now I'll say this, our hunt is closed out. It's sold out. It's going to be the biggest we've had yet. But the TAMDC, they do still have slots for Sunday. They have a big silver hunt on Sunday. So if you want to come out, check out the treasure, see Jace Robertson, that kind of stuff, you can do so. But go to TAMDC, their website. And I want to say maybe another week or 10 days or so, they're taking silver hunt. So check that out.
Okay. Hey, we had a question, Jocelyn just told me, from Nick Haas. Are there any plans to return the Garrett Memorial hunts back to Jefferson, Texas?
It's a possibility at some point. We really thought about that because we know a lot of the folks love the historic dump out there. There was a lot of cool bottles dug, some pretty old coins dug up too, tokens and stuff like that with the railway going through there. We loved it. It's just Miss Garrett last time when she was still living asked us to move it closer to the Dallas area for her. She passed, of course, this past year, about a year ago. And we've just decided to keep it at the local venue because with the treasure show, we had this awesome Coliseum there where we could have all the treasure on display. So it's kind of a mixed deal there, the treasure hunt and the treasure on display. Where it goes down the road, time will tell, I guess.
Okay. Yep, indeed. Well, we do have our winner. Richard Pelkey did text. So now, Richard, what you need to do is you see the email address on the screen. You need to send me your name, address, and phone number. That way I can forward it on to Steve and he can get your camo Jace Robertson edition Apex metal detector out to you. And you will like it, I promise you.
Yeah, it's lightweight. Yeah, that's a nice detector. Lightweight, rechargeable battery, multi-frequency. Yeah, that's an awesome unit for sure.
Yes, it is. It is indeed.
Yeah, especially like I was talking about with the beach next week. I've found this year alone, I think, excuse me, I found 5 or 6 rings with the Apex. It's just really solid on the jewelry. So I'll probably put in a few hours at the beach while I'm out there, and I'll use a couple, 2 or 3 different machines. But the salt mode on the Apex is tremendous. I love that.
Now, what coil do you run on that one?
I'd like the Viper size coil, but I may put on the Raider, the 8.5 11, just to get a little more depth out of it. Push it a little bit more. Because Phil, when you're on the beach, that's a lot of terrain to cover.
Yes.
And there's deep stuff for sure, but a lot of the stuff in the dry sand, at least, is usually not that deep. So big coil for good depth, but also cover a lot of ground at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, we know some people that do use the Apex on the beach. I think Ricky T's got one. He likes it on the beach. Dirty Paws, Mike Mayo, him and his wife have got it, and they love it. They absolutely love it.
Yeah, we've also got the larger coil for the Apex, the Reaper that we call it. So if you really want to go to the bigger size, that's going to push your depth a little bit more too. So I'm sure you sold a few of those for the
Yes,
beach
I
birds.
have that one. I have the Reaper in stock for the Ace Apex. That's the 11 by 14. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's the big daddy on the coils. So that's really pushing it out there. So
Yeah, but it's
We also
still a
got
light detector.
some,
That makes it a little heavier, but it's still.
yeah, it's a big coil, but it almost kind of balances out the machine because it's so light with the Viper coil that it's not that big a deal to put another, whatever it is, 6 or 8 ounces on there and get all that extra size.
Yeah, for sure.
So for their winner, Jose Gort says, Richard, if you don't like it, I'd love to have it. So,
We know he's going to like it.
in the immortal words of Rosanna Dana, it's always something.
It's always something. Yes. So, Steve, where are you going in Florida?
We usually go down not too far from Pensacola, like Santa Rosa Beach in that area. One of my last kid is in high school, still at home. So this is probably the last year we'll do traditional high school spring break with him. He's got one of his buddies. They're going to take his Jeep down there and do all that kind of fun stuff. And of course, old man will probably be out on the beach metal detecting at night and picking up all the jewelry I can find.
Yes,
But
sure.
it's a relaxing area. We love it down there,
Well,
Yeah,
when
the
you're down
sand
there,
there
you're
is-
not that far from Destin.
No, not very far at all.
And Destin's a good beach. They got a lot of beaches along in there that are really, really busy beaches, and they're good wide beaches. So you can get a lot of wet sand in and firm pack sand and some dry sand. But Santa Rosa area, that's beautiful around in there.
Yeah, I'm kind of an early morning person. I get up super early every day. So for me, if kids and wife and everybody wants to sleep in, I can jump in the car and drive down to another beach that's, a little more touristy, that's got more losses on it. And it's funny how I almost inevitably I'll find another guy out there, and a lot of times it's a Garrett person. Sometimes it's another brand, but I always stop and talk to them. And you get there, and it's like, dang it, somebody's already on this beach. One of the locals is already working it.
Yeah.
We got to stop selling these metal detectors, Phil. It's killing us.
It is. My fines have gone down since the hobbyist guy, Jocelyn, says that to me all the time. You used to find 5 gold rings in a day. It's happening now.
Yeah.
And she says, you sell too many detectors. But to me, it's the coolest hobby ever. It's fun. It's good exercise. And sometimes it's profitable, but it's always fun.
It is tough. I mean, we hit a little local town a few weeks back, coming back from the Central Texas area, and just happened to find this kind of swimming hole area where they drained it down for the winter. And for some reason, I guess nobody had been hitting it because I was only out there maybe 40 minutes, and I picked up 3 rings, out of the edge of the swimming area. But most of the time, you're really scratching to find one these days.
One real gold ring.
Well, one of the things too, and Phil will attest to this, you get a lot of folks out there, Steve, that have got all this stuff discriminated out. Because, well, I don't want to dig pull tabs. And so what, if you discriminate out what a pull tab brings up at, you're discriminating out the rings.
Yeah, but no, at the beach, you just can't run that way. If you put it in coins mode, you're definitely going to skip some good stuff. Yes. And there's some little gold earrings and charms and stuff, little silver charms. They don't ring up super high a lot of the time. So if you've notched out the 40s and some of the mid-tones and the 50s, you're going to skip some of that stuff for sure.
Yes.
Yep, that's for sure.
And obviously at the end of the day, you're going to dump out 50 pull tabs out of your pouch, but that's part of the game. You got to dig those pull tab, signals every time.
Just make a necklace out of them,
Hey, there you go. Well,
I'm
Steve,
saving some kid from getting his foot cut the way I look at it. So we're doing, some good deed on the beach.
Yes, we are. We're on the beach. But it looks like, Steve, our hour is gone that quick.
There we go.
I wanted to thank you for coming on here and thank Garrett Metal Detectors and yourself for giving away the Ace Apex for sure. And I want to make sure, because we had some comments, make sure you say your website for your books, because some of our folks are readers and they'd love to pick up one of your books for sure. So please
Yeah,
do that.
most of those are on Amazon and places like that. But www.Stephen with a PH, middle initial L, and last name Moore, StephenLMoore.com. And you can at least look up the info in the books, find the one that's interesting to you. And some of your metal detector dealers may have one of the Relic Quest books, some of the World War II stuff. Hop on Amazon, grab a copy. Some of them are audio books. So if you drive around, listen to books, grab one of those. Hope you enjoy it. And I appreciate you guys and your support and what you do for the hobby. And I'm jealous. I'm not going to dig stock. I'm a little bit sad, but
Me
when you hold
too.
up all these gold coins you dig, now I'm going to really be sad next week, right?
Well, I'll make us KG and Ringy buy me a brewski in your honor.
We'll be reading about you guys and all the trouble you got into.
Oh,
I'm
goodness
afraid that may
gracious. Those
be
two.
an accurate statement.
Yes. Hey, I wanted to say this before I go. Nick Haas, Jeff just posted this comment, and this is really the truth about Garrett. Best customer service in the industry. So
We appreciate that.
yes, for
100%.
sure, Garrett. But thank you, Steve. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jocelyn. And thank you to all the members in the Treasure Talk YouTube and Facebook group for sure.
Yes, indeedy. Yes, indeedy. So, Steve, thanks so much for coming on tonight. Thank you so much for that wonderful giveaway.
Yes.
People's hair was on fire when they heard about that. So, and just thanks and make sure to say thank you to the whole Garrett team from us out here, because we appreciate what you do. We want to say thanks to them for being a great American company, because there's not many of them left. And Garrett is one of the best going. And like Nick Haas said, we echo this sentiment: best customer service on the planet.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. And I will pass along those kind sentiments to everybody else. Happy hunting, good digs, good treasure. Everybody have fun.
For sure.
Thanks, Steve. All right,
Right.
everybody. We will see you back next week, where you're going to get a tour of the Coil Tech factory. Trevor Ferrarosso from Coil Tech will be our guest. He's going to take us on a tour, show how they make their aftermarket coils. So that'll be interesting. So it'll be me, the Guru, and Big Poppy.
Big Poppy.
So thank you for watching. Happy hunting, everybody. Thanks, Phil. Give Jocelyn a kiss for me. Thanks, Phil. You're my brother. Thanks, Steve. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Happy hunting. Dig deeper. And remember, if Phil don't have it in stock, you don't need it.
You don't need it for sure.
We'll talk to you next week. Happy hunting, everybody. Dig deeper.